Okay, everyone. So we are back. Now, first things first, let me just address this real quick before we get into the actual contents of the video. I know that I have been away for a little bit and I do apologize. I did have some issues behind the scenes and I was waiting to get those resolved before I could go back to actually making content. But now that all of that has been resolved and all that's out of the way, we are going to go back to making content. And I am really happy that the first thing that I do make a video about is our very first sneak peek into the next chapter of the Boruto 2 Blue Vortex manga. And we have it right here on the official Naruto website. So remember, this is information that Shueisha actually does want out there. They release these every single month in the lead up to the release of the newest chapter. And we have our first page right here. So usually they release 2 pages. This is the first one. And we see Jura in a bookstore doing what he loves best, which is to read books, expand his knowledge. And we already knew that about him. Obviously, when we've seen him with books, we saw him, how he reacted when he went into a bookstore the first time. Him and Hidari immediately went into the Leaf Village. And here we are, we're seeing him gather books to read. And remember, we were already told in the previous chapter by Kashin Koji when he was talking to Shikamaru, after Shikamaru figured out that Kashin Koji is the one who was helping Boruto, and Koji basically told him, listen, if Jura shows up and goes into a bookstore, for example, you are to treat him like any other customer. Do not engage with him at all. Do not antagonize him in any way, shape, or form, because according to Koji, there is a maybe 1 in a million chance that they could actually win against Jura if they actually do fight against him, which that in and of itself is already a crazy statement from Koji. Because remember, Koji trained Boruto, or he helped Boruto train to get stronger by using 10 directions to look into the future and see everything that Boruto's future self ended up learning, and he taught it all to Boruto. So we have a Boruto who is quite possibly stronger than every other future version of himself, and yet he still made the statement that they only have a 1 in a million chance of actually defeating Jura, depending on which translation, because in the fan translation, it said that they actually had no chance of defeating Jura. But if you go by the official translation, it stated that they have a 1 in a million chance of actually defeating Jura if they actually do get into a fight with him, if he actually were to take things seriously and actually decide to kill everyone and destroy everything. They have next to no chance of actually winning against him. That's just how strong he is. And he is saying this despite knowing how strong Boruto is, and despite possibly looking into the future and seeing a Kawaki without his limiters removed. And yet he still says that they have a 1 in a million chance of actually taking down Jura, which is absolutely crazy. So here we are, we're seeing Jura in a bookstore collecting books, and we see a look from the, what I'm guessing is the bookstore owner, and he's just surprised at what he's seeing. I don't think he actually knows what's actually going on. I don't think he's aware of who's actually in front of him, which I do think is kind of funny. I do wonder how long after the events of the previous chapter this is taking place, because I'm wondering if Shikamaru will have had time to warn everyone in the village that, hey, if you see this guy, you are not to engage, you are not to antagonize him in any way, shape, or form. And he especially warned any bookstore owners in the village, listen, if this guy shows up in your shop, treat him like any other customer. Do not antagonize him in any way, shape, or form. Trust me, you do not want to piss this guy off. So I am wondering if he would have had time to actually warn the village about Jura, and that if they see him, they need to stay the fuck away from him. And obviously, I am wondering what Boruto is going to do if he finds out that Jura is in the village. Also, I wonder what Kawaki is going to do if he finds out that Jura is in the village, because we know Kawaki is a little bit hot-headed. He does tend to act without think, or act before he thinks, excuse me. So I am wondering what he's going to do if he does find out that Jura is indeed in the village. Is he going to try to attack him? I personally don't think he will, because last time he encountered Jura, it did not end well for him. And they did almost interact with Jura after that, when they went after him, when him and Delta went after him. And this was before he immediately saved Hidari from being used by Boruto to save Sasuke, after they managed to destroy him and gain his Thorn Soul bulb, they were about to interact with him, but obviously they stopped themselves because I think Kawaki remembered what happened the last time, and they were wondering why Jura was just standing there and not actually doing anything. So I am, again, kind of curious to see what exactly is going to happen, how the rest of the village is going to just react to seeing the person who invaded their village just walking about, basically just doing whatever the hell he wants. It is definitely going to be really interesting to see what happens. And obviously, the other thing that I'm wondering about the chapter is what's going to happen with Sarada, Mitsuki, Konohamaru, and the other two Sand Shinobi when it comes to their interaction with Ryu and Matsuri. I'm wondering if we're going to get that in this chapter, or if maybe a big portion of the chapter is probably going to be Jura just in the village and us seeing the villagers' reaction to that. I'm just genuinely curious to see what we're actually going to get in this chapter. I'm willing to bet it's probably not going to be a big portion of the chapter, because I think that most of it is probably going to be focused on Sarada and the rest of the shinobi's interaction with Ryu and Matsuri, and I am curious to see how that's going to go. I'm curious especially to see how they're going to portray Ryu in this chapter. I really do hope it's not going to be disappointing, because if they hype up Ryu if they hyped up Ryu for all this time only for him to not really be all that impressive in his very first fight, then it's just going to be, again, disappointing, because that was something that did disappoint me about Hidari and how they handled his first actual fight in the series. I was really disappointed, and I was this close to just writing off Hidari completely, but seeing what they did with him later on and all of these little hints that they keep dropping about him, at least I think they might be hints, or there's a chance I'm just reading too much into it, but the way they portray him after that, especially with the interaction with Code in the Shinju dimension, it does make me think that there might be a little bit more to him, that they do actually have a plan with him, and that we're not being showed everything about him. So I'm not completely writing him off yet. Again, we'll see. It highly depends on the writing. If they don't really do anything with him, then it's just going to be really disappointing, because it seems like everything we've been seeing with both Ryu and Hidari, and I'm specifying those two in particular because they seem to not be the same as Matsuri and Mamushi, because Matsuri and Mamushi seem to be completely in line with what Jura is doing and what his plans are, but both Hidari and Ryu to me just seem like they might be, I guess you could call them the problem children of this little family that Jura created right here with the awakened Shinju. Again, that's just the feeling that I'm personally getting. I don't know if people will agree with me on that, but let me know your thoughts, guys, obviously in the comment section down below, and let me know your thoughts about this page right here. If you did see it, what do you think is going to happen in the chapter that we are about to get? Do you think that this is going to be a big portion of the chapter, or do you think this is just a small thing to sort of connect to what Kashi and Koji said in the previous chapter? And let me know the rest of your thoughts in the comment section down below. And while you're here, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, share this video out there, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. And I hope I'll see you guys for the next one. Again, I know I was gone for a little bit and I do apologize, but thank you to everyone who's been patient. Like I said, I managed to get everything resolved. So hopefully I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm going to have some more technical issues, which is going to take me some time to fix, which will obviously, stop me from being able to make content. But hopefully, again, it'll be a while before that happens. We'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, only time will tell. But anyway, with all that said out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. And I'll hopefully, again, see you for the next video, which will either be my coverage of the next spoiler image that gets released, even though, again, technically they're not spoilers. It is official marketing material released by Shueisha. Either that, or it might be a video where I talk about the full chapter leaks that do come out usually before the official chapter gets released on Viz Media or on the Shonen Jump app or the Shonen Jump website or Manga Plus, depending on which one you actually go to read the newest chapters whenever they get released. Again, depends on when that actually happens. So anyway, I hope I'll see you for my next video. Bye for now, guys.